Richard, tell me about this new product that's available from Floyd Automatic, the ProLine by Aplitech.
Yes, the new ProLine product is a new range of inserts that we brought out from Aplitech. Aplitech have been probably one of the biggest leaders in the manufacture of twin screw insert programs, primarily for sliding head use. They've dominated the market for many, many years. The twin screw insert program originally came about in this version, where you have two screws with a relatively large piece of carbide. Over the years, carbide has become an expensive luxury for a lot of applications. So Aplitech over the years produced a single screw version in an attempt to reduce the costs. This is actually a very good program and people have found it very, very useful. However, people always want to go back to the twin screw program.
Why that? Why is the twin screw? It might sound obvious, but...
Well, two screws are better than one. That would sound obvious. However, the twin screw program from Aplitech actually has a very good rail system. It's called basically offset clamping, which allows the screws to act in conjunction with the rails. So it's a very, very rigid program. That said, it's also a rather large piece of carbide. With the ProLine, they've designed the insert in a way where they can reduce the amount of carbide in the production and the number of grinding operations. They use a long, thinner blade to produce the parting off range, and they use a shorter, wider blade for doing turning and grooving. And by doing this, they've probably reduced the price of the current insert range by about 20 or 25%. This makes a big difference to a lot of users.
Now it's important to mention, and again, pretty obvious to us here, but this is for Swiss type lathe turning, is it?
Correct.
This is what Floyd Automatic specialise in. Now, how big is the market for what you're talking about?
This market for twin screw inserts has always been a very, very big part of our business. In the early years, I introduced the very first twin screw programs into the country, and that eventually became probably the biggest selling system. Currently, we'd probably be looking at around about 10,000 inserts approximately per annum over the range of Aplitech inserts. It is quite a significant development for us, mainly to challenge the pricing and the upward bound cost of a lot of inserts. So ProLine, which basically stands for a professional line, will give you profitability and productivity.
Now, the commercial side of me is now thinking, well, if you're selling this product at maybe a higher value at the moment and you introduce a lower cost version, is that not bad for you?
Not necessarily. The irony of selling some of these inserts is that it often protects the top brand product, simply because most people will ultimately go for the top brand, the top line from Aplitech. However, those who do have to watch their pennies will be able to keep a twin screw program at a lower cost on the ProLine.
Now, we spoke about the twin screw effect and the carbide, the having less carbide. What's the value to the machining process by having the twin screw? What are you going to get extra out of the machine or on the component?
Well, actually, we find that the nature of this type of design will give you the ability in certain cases, not necessarily on these types of inserts which are laser ground, but on general inserts, because of the twin screw application, you can take this to a lapping. You can relap your inserts, you can reproduce your inserts. There's a lot of additional work you can do with such tooling like this, which you can't do with an ISO insert. They don't replace ISO inserts, they have their own role to play. But for a lot of sliding head users, particularly in the back turning environments, back turning for a lot of people using ISO inserts is extremely difficult without this type of technology. It's very important.
Now, the final point for me is twin screw, single screw. When you've got a component, can you save cycle times by having, let's say, the twin screw? Can you take deeper cuts? Will you get less vibration? Those types of benefits.
You really hit the button there, because the main reason is the single screw does not give you that rigidity, so deeper cuts are not possible. You have to sort of back off. You cannot quite get up to the same speeds. They work well. They work well for 80% of the time. When you really want to take those deeper cuts, larger insert programs, the twin screw will always be the better version.
Very interesting insight. Thank you, Richard.
You're welcome. Thank you, Paul.